They ignore your boundaries. They interrupt your work day. They're interfering with your peace. Block. Now, Alafia, welcome to the channel. Today, I want to talk to you about how to protect your energy using the power of silence, block, and delete. And when I say block and delete, I'm talking about your phone as well as your social media. Okay? Any platform where people have access to you and your energy. Remember that any form of communication, whether it be in person, an email, a text, a phone call, FaceTime, a written letter, those are all ways to exchange energy. Even a song is an exchange of energy. You can listen to a particular song and it can make you feel a certain way or elicit an emotional response. It would be sadness or happiness, right? Those are all forms of energy. How many times have you received a text message from someone and it immediately created an emotional response within you, right? It might have made you angry or even to make you laugh. I want to give you an example. If you've ever seen the movie Monsters, Inc., and I'm going to give a little spoiler about the movie as well. But in the movie, the monsters had one job, and that was to siphon energy from the children. So they would show up and scare the children and then collect the energy that was created by the child being frightened and very afraid and scared. And they used that energy to power other things, right? And so eventually in the movie, the monsters realized that they could elicit or capture the same type of energy by making the children laugh, right? They were still able to collect that energy, whether it be from a negative emotion or a positive emotion. And there are people in our lives who do the same thing. And you guys have heard me talk about energy vampires. For example, a person can call you or text you 50 times, right? They could be on a rant, cussing you out, they're angry. You can choose to respond or to not respond. Or someone can send you 50 text messages full of compliments or jokes or tell you how much they love you, right? Either way, the fact that you are visually seeing the letters and the text on your screen creates a reaction within you. Now, it could be positive or negative. Here's the thing, especially with text messages. When the message appears, you can read it. You can pause before you respond. No matter how you choose to respond, the other person is receiving some type of gratification in knowing that they have somehow affected you, distracted you, angered you, or even uplifted you just by the use of their words. And peep this, people will also save the text message exchange, screenshot it, to have evidence or proof or receipts of how you responded. Be careful, especially if you are interacting with the parent of your children, a lover, your ex, or your boss, someone who can hold it over your head or have some type of leverage over you to use this against you in the future. This is called leverage. Okay. The other thing I want to talk to you about is opening messages or pictures from unknown sources, or you might even know the person. It could be your friend sending you a picture, but they don't warn you before they send it, right? So you could be looking at the images, maybe you weren't prepared to view. Let's say, for example, someone sends you a picture of your partner kissing someone else. You weren't expecting it. You open the picture. What happens? Immediate response of rage, anger, jealousy. You have just satisfied the energy that was looking to harvest off of you. This image has now possibly ruined your day, infiltrated your peace. No. This is when you have to block. I talk a lot about boundaries as well. Some of you may see the little post I put up in the community section here on the YouTube page. And it's so important to have strong boundaries. I had a client who called me for services and readings and things like that. And I told her, do not call me after 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. I also told her, wait 30 days and then call me. She called me 2 days later. With the do not call me after 9, she started texting me after midnight. So you know what she got? She got a block and a delete. Because you have now crossed the boundary. You're not respecting my time. You're not respecting what I wish of you and my hours and my schedule, right? And my energy. I also said to her, do not send me pictures just randomly out of nowhere without telling me first that you're going to send a picture, right? She did it anyway. So you know where she is now? Blocked, deleted, services have been permanently canceled. You didn't follow the rules. So you have to react to people the same way. You know, I'm running a business. I have multiple businesses. But so aside from, okay, don't call me after a certain time, you have to do that with the people that you're dating as well, and your friends and your family. You do not have access to me 24/7. I also think FaceTime is intrusive. You need to call me first and see where I am and what I look like at the moment before you just pop up. Maybe I don't want you to see me right now, or maybe I don't want you to know where I am. The categories. The other thing, going back to what I was saying about pictures. Someone could send the picture to you, they could post it somewhere, and you have to not respond. Especially like Facebook stuff or just any social media where you're responding publicly. Because now you are drawing the attention and the energy to you and that conversation from people you don't even know. People who could be sending you evil eye, people who are secretly hating on you anyway. Now they know that you will respond. I know it's hard sometimes for some people to remain silent, to not react, but you have to be as unbothered as you can be. When you start giving people your silence, the antics will stop. And if they don't stop, your next step is block, delete. Especially when you're dealing with narcissists. Now, in narcissistic abuse, which is a personality disorder, we call this the gray rock strategy, which is when you are as dull and boring and unresponsive as you can be and the person will go away. No response means no fun, no energy exchange, no access to your peace. Now let's talk about when it's time to block and why you should never respond to back-to-back multiple intrusive text messages. Do not react. Do not respond. If you need to block someone, even temporarily, do it. Protect your energy. Let's say, for example, you're in school or you're at work, you're engaged in some activity. You might be reading or writing, and someone in your life is texting you. Texting. And your phone is going ping, ping, ping. You might look at it to make sure it's not an emergency, but you're busy. You're not responding. Here it goes, ping, ping. If you can't ignore that, block them. Just block them for the day. Now you're not tempted to respond, you're not tempted to look, and you're protecting your energy. Because guess what happens? That pinging is now trying to distract you from whatever you are doing. And it's selfish because this person is demanding your attention at that moment with no regard for what you are doing. The more you ignore the messages or the calls, the more annoyed they become. But you protect your energy. Don't allow this person to drain yours. Energy vampires and narcissists are especially good at this. And narcissists don't like being ignored. This happened to me once. I had surgery. I was hospitalized. And when I didn't respond to the calls and the messages from the narcissist, this person who was already paranoid and starting to accuse me of conspiring against them, because they couldn't get my attention or my reaction or access to my energy, they started calling me, emailing, texting back to back. You know, I just had surgery. What is it that you're looking for from me? Right? So the key word here is access. Be careful and be very discerning about who gets access to your energy. Especially if you are a healer, if you're a light worker, you're an empath. Sometimes you may feel it's your duty to help others and to be available to them. But you have to protect yourself and take care of yourself as well. Now, we're still talking about blocking. Blocking is a wonderful tool. Protect your energy, your peace. If someone in your life is draining, toxic, and you just cannot completely remove them from your life because you're related to them, you got kids with them, block them. You could do it just for the day. If they talk crazy to you, they talk sideways to you, they call you out your name, they ignore your boundaries, they interrupt your work day, they're interfering with your peace, block. Now, again, if this is a relative or your ex, you can call them back, but on your time, on your schedule. If you share children with the person, you have to send the message that when you disregard my boundaries, when you disrespect me, you lose access to me. Blocked. Blocking gives you a moment of peace. Blocking protects your energy. Blocking sends the message the person you are trying to reach is unavailable. Now, let's talk about when it's time to delete. I like to think of deleting as a more permanent option to blocking. Because once I delete you, then it's difficult for me to go looking for your phone number again. I can no longer go back to those messages that were sent 6 months ago. You just completely erase the person. When it's time to delete, I like to use delete on narcissists, exes that like to come creeping back, abusers, people who are consistently toxic, anyone that you may have a soft spot for, anyone that you know is just too toxic to let back into your energy. Delete their email, delete their entire contact from your phone, delete their picture, delete their profile on your Netflix account, delete anything that you may come across a year from now that will make you want to see what they are up to. Unfollow them on their social media. We're not friends anymore. Delete anything that helps you gain access to that person or vice versa. Why? Because some people are so ingrained into our lives, it requires more action to be free of them. We call this an energetic cord, and the cord must be cut. And there are different things you can do, different practices and rituals that you can do to cut the cord. Doing these things is actually a form of banishing, and I highly recommend it, especially if you are ruminating about someone, or they pop up in your dreams, or you just can't seem to shake the person. Then cutting the cord is a form of banishing. All right? So we'll talk some more, because I like to talk to you guys about energy vampires, because sometimes it's hard to recognize them. Energy vampires come in different forms. Some of them, they dump their troubles and their traumas on you. Some of them, when you are celebrating something good in your life, they come in and try to one-up you by saying that they did something even more successful. Some of them, when you have a win, they come in and remind you of something that was negative to kind of bring you down and knock you off your high horse. You have energy vampires who will come in and create some type of chaos to draw attention off of you. I remember I had a family member who was getting married, and all these relatives came in from town, and there was just a lot of activity going on surrounding a marriage, a wedding, right? And the narcissist in my family showed up and created a sort of imaginary crisis, showed up at the rehearsal dinner and demanded attention from one of the other uncles, and just completely made it about her. And this is some of the things that narcissists do. And I know this video really wasn't supposed to be about narcissism, but they are some of the greatest energy vampires. So we can talk some more about that in the future, but I really want you guys to use what's available to you to protect your energy, protect yourself spiritually and physically, protect your aura. Make sure that you are surrounding yourself with people who bring you nothing but peace and joy and give you the love that you deserve at all times. All right? Peace to you, beloveds. Make sure you hit the like and the subscribe, and we'll be back again to chat again. Peace to you.